Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Jennifer Crumley taking the stand in her own defense, saying she never imagined her son would injure or kill.
That was the hardest thing I had to stomach, is that my child harmed and killed other people.
And saying despite it all, she doesn't feel she failed as a parent.
I've asked myself if I would have done anything differently, and I wouldn't have.
Today, the questions came from Jennifer Crumley's own attorney.
Tomorrow, she'll face much tougher questions under cross-examination, at times turning to speak directly to the jurors. Jennifer Crumley giving her account of what she knew and didn't know about the various concerns Oxford High School staff had about her son. She talked about the decision to send the shooter back to class rather than remove him from school due to disturbing drawings that he had made on a worksheet.
And she tried to explain why she and her husband didn't immediately surrender to face charges of involuntary manslaughter. Sean Lay live at the Oakland County Courthouse to run us through today's testimony. Sean.
Kimberly, Devin, let's get right to it. What a day on the witness stand. About 2 hours on the stand for Jennifer Crumley. Again, her attorney asking her the questions. One of the last questions before things wrapped up today was her attorney asking Jennifer Crumley, do you think you failed as a parent?
Are you a failure as a parent?
I don't think I'm a failure as a parent, but at that time, I guess I didn't see, I felt bad that Ethan was sad at those things, and I guess I don't know, I just felt like I failed somewhere.
Prosecutors say Jennifer Crumley knew her son was in a mental health crisis months before the shooting. In March of 2021, the 15-year-old was begging for his mother's attention and sent her alarming texts that he was seeing violent demons inside their home. He begged her to text back while she was horseback riding. Crumley did not respond to her son at all.
I'm sure I saw them, but they just didn't stick out to me until this case.
Why didn't they stick out to you?
Because it wasn't anything that was anything serious. It was Ethan just messing around.
The day of the shooting, November 30th, 2021, Jennifer Crumley called to the school with her husband, James, a school counselor concerned that her son was suicidal. Her son, Drew, and a teacher found incredibly alarming, disturbing images and messages on her son's worksheet. Why didn't Jennifer Crumley take her son from school right then and there?
Did you have any feelings about whether or not he could stay at school?
I didn't really, I thought the advice that they were giving us was a good advice. We talked about him being sad, and then he said being around peers usually helps. So we all agreed to that. My son gets very stressed out when he does virtual school, so we agreed that it might stress him out more to do his school remotely the rest of the day.
That is such a critical moment in this horrible case, horrible situation of the Oxford school shooting. The morning of the shooting, parents there with the dean and counselor and with the shooter. And she said that meeting was called, she believed it was nonchalant, guys. And she was not asked the question on the stand today why she didn't say, we bought him a gun just a few days ago. She's back on the stand tomorrow, as you two point out, Devin and Kimberly. This time, prosecutors asking the questions, and it was made clear to Jennifer Crumley, nothing is off limits. We're live tonight in Oakland County. Sean Lay, Local 4.
Okay, Sean, thank you. And if you missed any of Jennifer Crumley's testimony today, we'll be playing it all back on Local 4 Plus, and click on Detroit.com tonight at 6:30, right after this newscast. And you can find Local 4 Plus anywhere you get your streaming channels, such as Netflix and Hulu.
President Biden in town today as he begins his re-election campaign. Flew into Selfridge Air Force Base, made about a half-hour stop at They Say, the burger restaurant in Harper Woods, talking with diners there, taking some selfies. After that, the motorcade moved on to the UAW Region 1 Union Hall in Warren. You'll recall he received the UAW endorsement just last week. And while there, the president gave his usual praise for organized labor.
Because you are the best workers in the world. That's not hyperbole. No, you really are. You really are. And when labor does well, everybody does better.
The president will return to Washington in about 2 hours, but is likely holding a fundraiser on his way out of town.
A Metro Detroit cemetery owner who repeatedly broke state cemetery laws has moved on to yet another cemetery, and the state wants to finally shut him down.
Same guy whose company was also managing Detroit's 3 city-owned cemeteries. Karen Drew's been investigating, and more on this part of the story.
This is so messy. Michigan has very specific laws about cemetery operation. There are a lot of rules, but bottom line, you have to be responsible, especially with money. And now the state says a former City of Detroit cemetery contractor is so irresponsible with cemetery funds, he should not be allowed to manage yet another cemetery he's been operating.
Sam Tocco lacks the requisite good moral character, financial stability, responsibility, and security to control and operate a cemetery in a legal and proper manner. Strong words from the state for a man who managed multiple cemeteries in Metro Detroit over the past 20 years or so. In an October legal filing, the state of Michigan said Sam Tocco's long history of cemetery misconduct demonstrates a lack of integrity to protect the public welfare. The state wants to stop him from operating another cemetery. Michigan law is clear. Cemetery operators must first be approved and certified by the State Cemetery Commission. There are a lot of rules about cemetery operations. 15% of all burial proceeds must be put into a special trust fund for cemetery maintenance. While Sam Tocco ran Knollwood Memorial Cemetery in Canton from 2003 to 2017, the state says, among other problems, hundreds of thousands of dollars were missing from cemetery accounts. In Detroit, Tocco's company managed 3 city-owned cemeteries. Cemeteries owned by the city don't have to follow state cemetery rules, but dozens of Detroit families told Local 4 investigators their loved ones' bodies or headstones were misplaced or missing from Detroit's Gethsemane Cemetery.
And I want the cemetery to own up to what y'all did wrong.
Sam Tocco left those cemeteries and their problems behind after filing for bankruptcy protection in 2015. Local 4 investigators uncovered he bought this privately owned cemetery in 2017, Trinity Cemetery in Detroit. Cost $300,000. Now the state says Tocco has been operating Trinity Cemetery illegally for the past 5 years, stating Tocco operated and continues to operate the Trinity Cemetery without a valid registration. When the state caught up with him in 2021, Tocco quickly applied for registration of his Trinity Cemetery. But citing his history of noncompliance and inadequate financial stability or integrity to protect the public, the state says it intends to deny his cemetery operator application.
Okay, so what's next? We found out Tocco has an administrative hearing with the state. That's on March 11th, and they're going to decide if he can control Trinity Cemetery in the future. But for now, the state has issued a cease and desist order, so he's not supposed to be operating that cemetery. Now, the state said it would not comment on any ongoing administrative proceeding, because, of course, my question is, if there's a cease and desist order, what's going on? So now they're like, well, now we're going to have a hearing. Yeah. So it's so messy.
It sure is.
And we're getting all of these tips from viewers. Everyone's emailing. So now we're going to focus on Trinity, folks. So if you have any issues with your family, your loved ones, or whatever, email me. I'll check it out. We're not letting this go.
Good deal. All right, Karen.
A string of smash and grab robberies at jewelry stores has ended, according to police who say the thieves were caught red-handed in Macomb County. Police say the group was responsible for the January 13th robbery at Hellsberg Diamonds inside Great Lakes Crossing. And they also struck 9 days later at a K Jewelers inside Lansing Mall. Their next target would be the Lakeside Mall in Sterling Heights on January 24th. By then, police had started surveillance on a rented getaway vehicle from the Lansing robbery. When that car met up with another car and began circling Lakeside, officers mobilized nearby, and a short time later, 4 men went into the mall and smashed out cases at Sparkles Jewelry. When they ran back out, police were waiting to arrest them, recovering $170,000 worth of merchandise. Investigators believe the group pictured here are responsible for 6 robberies in Michigan and Ohio.
Today, an emotional reunion for a Troy man and his family at DMC Heart Hospital in Detroit. David Gallagher collapsed while running the annual Belle Isle New Year's Eve run. Well, fortunately, the woman running behind him was a nurse. Megan Woods was there as he got to thank her in person. Megan?
Devin, Kimberly, this was such a sweet moment to witness. And David Gallagher, he has been involved in this run for more than 15 years. So this came as a surprise. So, of course, when the unexpected happened in December, you know, he's recovered since then. But now he's calling this stranger, complete stranger, his hero. Take a look. David Gallagher can't help but to get emotional meeting Kate Lloyd. She's a nurse at a correctional facility in Ypsilanti, but that day she was running behind David when he collapsed. She instantly checked on him and with help flipped him over.
Sir, can you hear me? Sir, can you hear me? He takes another agonal breath. We look at each other and we immediately begin CPR. We did CPR. 3 of us rotated. They came with the AED. We shocked him a couple times with the AED. And then EMS arrived. It was very surreal.
To know that someone cares, someone is out there willing to help others, a complete stranger, put themselves in harm's way, it's just a wonderful feeling, and I don't think words can express it. It's in my heart.
David has participated in the Belle Isle New Year's Eve run time and time again, so this came as a surprise even to his family.
He lives an active life. Like he comes to everything of ours. You know, he never misses an event.
DMC Heart Hospital discovered David had 2 blockages in 2 main vessels and performed double bypass surgery. But surgeons and doctors say none of that would have been possible without what Kate did.
The sooner CPR is given, the better outcome for them to live. So we're so grateful, and I hope this is a sign for people who have thought, you know, maybe I should go get CPR certified.
And what made this moment even better, the race director was there and gave David a medal. So he does feel that a feeling of completion for this race. Reporting live in Detroit, I'm Megan Woods, Local 4.
And not just the CPR training, but knowing where the AED, the defibrillator was. Yep, it makes a huge difference. All right, Megan.